So the CAN bus is all configured. We did it all on the bench. We did the CB1, the Manta board. We loaded all the firmware onto the 2209. Everything's all done prior to installing it into the machine. Now it's critical that we do that, because if you get it wrong, it's such a pain to try and connect all the wiring up and all that sort of stuff. So please just try and do this part before putting it all on the machine. It's actually not that hard, as you've seen. And so now we're going to move into the electrical part of the job, and we'll install all the Manta board and all that sort of stuff, and we're going to crack into that. Okay, now we're up to the assembly of all the electronics into the machine. I've configured the Manta board, I've configured the SB2209 board, which those two alone was a big learning curve, and I had lots of dramas with that. So we've got all of our, this is on the bottom layer of the kit. We've got all the electronic stuff here. We've got the power supply, we've got the bag of printed forward parts for the electronics section, we've got our wiring looms, we've got our connector systems, we've got looms, we've got rails to hide all the wiring, we've got these little things here. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be 3 or 4 of these, but there's only 3. And the chain, and so now that I've actually got this all configured, we need to do 2 things on this board. So I haven't actually done it yet because I just wanted to show you guys. So okay, before you mount your board, you just need to double check that you've got a few things set up. Okay, so first of all, you need to have your fan jumpers in here. So when these fan jumpers here are for your cooling fans for underneath the bed, underneath where all the electronics and that go. So that all 24 volt here. If you've got 24 volt fans, if it's the next line up, it's 12, and the next line up's 5. Okay, so you can set each one of those 3 levels. Just make sure also that you have, so for normal situation, if you're using an X and a Y end stop, you're just going to run all your jumpers. There's one on the left, one on the left, one on the right, right. Don't worry about these end 2. Don't worry about that. And then you have, this is for your voltage, your power. That's your power rail running right through there. You need to have the second one in on each one of these red and black bays. Second one in, second one, second, second. Don't worry about the 7th one. And then if you're running homeless sensing, you leave them all the same, and you add in this one here into the diagnostic port, which is directly below the black chocker block line, and then the same, so that's on the B motor, and this is on the A motor here. You have that one on that one there on the diagnostic, right directly below that black port. You have your 120 ohm resistor, and then if you're programming off the machine, you have your 5 volt jumper here, and you pull that off for installation into the machine. Okay, and then you got your CB1, of course. Right, so let's flip it over. I just want to show you, I've mounted the bracket for securing. So you'll see in the build kit there's one bracket that looks like this. It'll say, I can't remember what it actually says, main board, whatever, and then it says there's 4 other brackets which are for the power supply, and then there's 2 separate brackets which are these 2 here, which basically screw into these 4 screws here. So these mount there there, there and there, and it's actually it's not the same way both sides, so just make sure you get it the right way around. One's got a steeper angle than the other. This one here's got an offset leg. These ones here are even, but this one's an offset leg. This one. Okay, so the other thing I noticed that I had to do, I had to drill out these here off the machine, off this bed, because these here wouldn't go through. I had to drill these out 1/2 millimeter, and I had to drill these out 1/2 millimeter just so that I could screw them in. So when you screw them in, so these are screwed in and tight, they were fine. You need to make sure that you put them on the same way on both sides, so don't have one this way and one that way. Have them both in the same direction. So we'll just screw them on quickly. And don't use too long a screw either, because the other thing I noticed is that the screws that came with this for this didn't actually fit, so you had to put a bigger screw in. And you've absolutely got to make sure you're not putting too long so that it screws into the board or screws and touches a contact of the soldered side. So these here are 12 millimeter long. I think they're 2.5s, or it could be even 3s. So notice I'm putting this one on the same way as this one here. Screw it in a couple of turns until I can get the thread just poking through, and that'll get it started. And then just give this a wiggle until it lines up. And just nip it up. Don't do it too tight, you'll break the bracket. Support it with your hand. And that just clips into the din rail. Just like that. Okay, so we'll flip it back over. And then we've just got to put these motors back in. These stepper drivers back in. Just like that. And that's all the drivers in. Just give them a bit of a press down to make sure. You will have to put these on separately, the heat sinks. But that's ready to install in the machine. And we're going to get into that in the video coming up actually. Yeah. Okay, before we get into the wiring, what we need to quickly do, right at the top here, we need to jump in, and there's a special set of mounts for the power supply. So we need to go into the CBT print list, a print guide, and then jump into this file here, Magic Phoenix for it. So this is the GitHub for the STL files. We need to go to printed parts and then find the file for, you need to print off this file here for the M8P, one of those, 4 of these for the LRS 200 power supply, and 2 of these for the din rail clips. And I'll show you where those will go through this video. So once you've printed those off, you'll see that the power supply has those four that were in that list just then, they actually mount in from the side, so they bolt in through the side with I think they're M5 by 6 screws. They might even be M4 by 6, and they clip in. You leave them reasonably loose so that they can actually navigate around and click in. Once they're all locked in, then you can tweak them up. That's how I did mine. The second thing to look out for is right here is a switch, and that's basically, you need to turn that to whatever your country power voltage is. It's 230 for South Pacific, UK, Australia, New Zealand, the South Pacific region all use 230 to 240 volts. 110 to 120 for USA, Canada, etc, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So just check your voltage and make sure that's right. If it's not right, you'll blow this thing up and you'll be buying another power supply and probably pop a fuse. And the third thing is, so there's the 230 there, so you just basically click that switch up to 110, 120 and you'll see 110 down the bottom here. The third thing is these earth clips that go on the dirt on the DIN rail. They are a little bit tricky. Well, not really tricky, but there's just a trick to getting them in. I found that I couldn't get them to click in. They would just sit there and bounce up and down on the DIN rail. One of the UK guys said, you know, good on you, mate, you know. We use these for years, but I've never seen them. So there's actually 3 of these they stack together, whereas these here, all the other ones, they're all actually one piece and they're all plastic. These are set up as earths so that you don't actually have to physically run an earth wire on your solid state relay. If I can find a picture of that. So to get them to click in, these screws here are the ones that you need to undo. You anti-clockwise screw them out maybe 6 or 7 turns, and then that allows them to click into place and latch onto the other side of the DIN rail. And then once they're in, slide them all up to the left up against the red one, and then do all 3 of these up again so that they're nice and clipped in tight. And that actually forms the earth, because you're running an earth cable from there, and that actually earths the rail. That rail, anything connected to that rail will be earthed if it needs an earth, which the SSR does, and it's actually got it in there, so it's actually hardwired, and it's actually a good design, nice and simple. So that covers that part, and now let's talk about the SSR, or solid state relay. Okay, so first step, consult the NPX page, and so basically we're just going to lay out the gear as per this diagram. So we need to flip it around this way. So at the back. Oh, hang on a minute. I must have put my rails on the wrong way around. Wow. Okay, I'll have to fix that. Yeah, so these rails are supposed to go that way. Okay, so that's that little faux pas fixed. So yeah, hey, you can't get everything right? So now that's a lot better. Hang on, what's going on here? So that's how it should be. So I'm just going to let this lean over it because I've got my handles on this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label the motors. So there's a little bag in your kit that comes with the stickers. So I'll just have a quick look at this. So this will help with wiring it all up later on. So I'll get that out of the way first, easy, and then we can roll back to the beginning of the layout section. Okay, so we're just going to lay out the gear pretty much to look like that, and then we'll start working on bolt here, just so you got an idea of where it all goes. So we've got power supply just there somewhere. Rail blocks. Red, blue, grey, black. That. Maybe like that. Power inlet. That goes up the back here. Would have been frustrating getting in. With the power supply, so that goes up here somewhere. With the power supply, just make sure that you've got your correct voltage selected. So this one here is for our voltage here, which is 230. If you've got 110, click it up and you'll see 110 in there. If you don't see 110, it's not right, you'll blow it. And it tells you that there anyway on the sticker here. AC voltage can be selected via switch. Check input voltage, avoiding damage before power on. So we've got this little unit here. So it just bolts onto that like that. So looking at the drawing, it tells you to be careful about this. Note the SSR direction. So they've got the CE up like that, so that's how it goes, like so. Okay, and then we've got the two rails, the three rails and the bottom piece. So we've got a long one here, long one down there, one up the side, one down this side, one in the middle. Okay, so these stick on with the red tape. So basically it says to wipe the plastic down with isopropyl alcohol or something similar. And we've got this little bag here, which has got the tape, double-sided tape for holding it down. And this little roll is quite sticky in there, so you have to kind of put your fingers in the bag to get it to move. Okay, so we'll get that in a minute. So we'll just pull this stuff out of the way for now. At least we've got an idea of how it all goes. And we'll get some isopropyl alcohol and that stuff. This will make sure that your tape sticks to the tracks. Okay, so we just basically get a little pair of scissors as well, or some snips actually. Snips will probably be easier. And then we just want to get our, while that's evaporating off, get our tape from the end. Roughly put it in the middle and cut it off. Same with all the others. Try not to cut the plastic off like that. So this is a 3M VHB tape. It's quite very good at sticking to stuff. Okay. So then we pull the adhesive off the back of it. Might be able to get it with these or more pliers. We'll see which one works better. Works pretty good. Just don't touch that tape. So peel them all off. Just get it started in one corner and then get your pliers. Make sure it doesn't roll over on you. Sometimes it can be tricky. You can go to the other end and see if you have a better success at the other end. Oops, that's taking the whole thing with it. I'll see if I can get this one. Yeah, they can be tricky sometimes. One to go. Hopefully this one will be easy to get off. I'm just using my little stumpy thumbnail to get to the tape. Pull the tape off. Right, double check. Make sure we get all the orientations right. two long ones and get this here. Basically we want to get pretty close, about 10 mil off the, we'll fold that out of the way. So that's about 10 mil off the motors, but I need to also make sure we've got this lined up as well. About there, because the other thing we're fighting the cable down the bottom there, right there. Like so. Like that. And down the middle. I can already see, and I've stuffed this one up. So we'll peel that bit of tape off and start again with this one. Get the cap upside down. So put your tape on this side. Silly. Anyway, second mistake of the day. I'm allowed to make 3. Cut it off. Hold the tape down. Down. Okay, that's roughly how that should look. Goes to these two. So I know I haven't shown it on my video. I'm going to show you the installation of the Manta board now, how it actually inserts into the DIN rail. So just ignore all these wires in here. I actually missed this video for you guys, so I'm just going to do it again. So this is just the mounting of the board. So we've got our mounts on, and now we're going to install them. So if you have a look here, we need to click in this side first and then snap it down into that side. Okay, so hopefully we should be able to get this in place without upsetting too many wires and things. So we want to get this other back side in first. On that, we've got to flip these around. It's offset, eh? The mounts are offset, so I had a 50-50 chance of getting it right. So I've got to spin this around and then put it on. Take this one off. Spin it around. Get it engaged into the hole with a little bit of thread that's coming through. Get it started, move to the back one. Get that in. Nip it up so it's nice and tight, but not so tight you snap the bracket. Check these two. Okay, so now that should allow us to slip it in from the back side. Just push all this stuff up out of the way. So it'll hook in from the back and then snap in like so. So that's ready for me to put all the wiring back in again. So you won't have to worry about this because we'll do this together. But I just wanted to show you how to click that in there. So it's probably about an inch from the, just over an inch from the end here. And that's ready for me to, put my CAN bus and all that sort of stuff back in. Alright, goes to these two, and this is your solid state relay, so that you need to make sure the orientation of that's right. So if you have a closer look at this picture, as that is, the CE is up the top, so make sure it's up the top, because you've got to put the AC power in the top, and the bottom goes out to the DC stuff. So the next part, so the first thing you do is pretty much click in your mount for your AC. Okay, so what we're about to do now is we're about to do the CBT cable kit installation. So we'll start off with U1, power inlet to UK2 2.5. So we've got it installed there, the power inlet, and that's going to go to the 230 volt earth power and the neutral, which is the blue one. So the red's power, mains 230 volt, the yellow and green is 230 earth, and then the blue is for the neutral. So here's the part I'm talking about where we're tightening up these earth blocks so that they don't slip around, and it tightens them up nice and tight on the earthing on the DIN rail, so it makes great earth. And I'm just tightening those three up now. So they're a lot different to the red one and the black one. Red one and the blue one, sorry, because the other two are insulated. They've basically got an insulated plastic clip on, as you can see there. But on the green and yellow one, you can see that it's a solid steel interface to the DIN rail. So that's the biggest difference between those lot. And you want to keep all the other ones isolated away from one another. So it's quite a good management system. Consulting the manual. So I'm just going to test the circuit and make sure that the switch operates and cuts the circuit. So we've just got the continuity there on the ohm meter. If I did this again, I would not have mounted that bracket with the power adapter on it. I would have just left that so that you can actually work with the cables, because it was quite tight once the that plastic rails in there is not much room. So it's just going to get a continuity circuit going, and then I'm going to see it hit the switch and see if it breaks. Yep. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the circuit to open up. And I'm just looking in there, there's not a lot of room in there. And they're very tight to get on, those clips, but if you actually had that bracket off, it would have been so much easier. So now we're working on the U2 loom. Which is a 2.5 to the low voltage, so that's a 200/24, which is the power supply. So we're going to hook that all in now. Just a note on the heater wiring. This here's the sheet. I think it just says bed heater wiring. So these wires are actually all black from the heater plug, and they are each one of these plugs ports is terminated in a different colour at the end of the black cable. You can't see it here, but this black one here has got a yellow for the earth, and then this black one here has got a black for the 230 volts, and then the third one is, where did that third one go? Over to here on the solid state relay. So that's the third one off the heater wire. So that's this one here. Okay. So yeah, and then there's I think it's U4. There's a single short little red cable, and that's this one here that just ducks round and comes into this 230 volt live supply here. So hopefully I'll post this picture up a little bit more into it. So I've kind of like got all the basics done. I haven't wired up the thermistor or anything else on the board apart from what was set up on the basics, the DC wiring. So these three here is 230 volts. These two here are low voltage. So these two are getting voltage from your power supply. So your heater runs on 230 volts, obviously, and your all your 24 volt feed here propagates out to your board, powers up the board, powers up the motors, and then this one here, not sure what that does actually. These two here got to be plugged in, and they come back to the system. But just follow through these sheets. They're pretty good. I was just a little bit confused, but when I saw how it was done, it's categorised into AC wiring, DC wiring, and then bed heater wiring. So if you're following this sheet here and going through 1, 2, 3, oh hang on a minute, where does this U4 go? Don't worry about that so much, because otherwise you're going from one system to another all the time. So I can see why that's done, why this is just a layout what's in the kit, and you would think it was sequential, but it's not exactly. So don't panic if you go, oh hang on, where does this U4 go, or this U5 go? It'll all come into play once you start working down through the list, because I was thinking exactly that. Well, where does this U4 go? Because it says that it's going from the UK 2.5 to the SSR solid state relay. And anyway, so don't panic. It'll come out once you've actually continued down through the basic part and get your basic AC and DC wiring done. Then you'll come past the board configuration down through here, and that will pick up these ones here. And now you start wiring in the SSR, and there's the U4 there. There's that one going on the left hand side of the SSR to the 230 volts. So yeah, so anyway, it's pretty good. The only other thing that I noticed was different on mine to the drawings and on here was the 230 volt power point. It's showing on here, it's showing the wiring all on this side, Whereas my switch, maybe I put my switch in upside down, I don't know. Maybe I did. It's on the opposite side, but it doesn't matter. I think I have put it up the other way. Okay, so now there's a cable in here called SB, BP, so that's bed power. So there's a little 2-pin plug here, which goes into this. This is from the bed, so I can now connect that up. It is directional, but you'll see the little tang on the top of here. Just plug that in, like so. And that plugs into, it comes around here. So we'll put that in through here. Try and maintain our cable management. And that comes all the way around the outside, and comes through here and powers onto this side of the board somewhere. So it's good because they've actually got both sides of the both ends of the cable marked with BP. So I will find out where that plugs into the board, which is in the wiring diagrams. So when you scroll down through here, it actually gives you a blow up of so we've got heater thermistor, I think. Heater thermistor, yeah, I think it's that one. So it should be, so we've got 3 rows here. It should be the dark red one on the bottom here. So that should be that one. I'll tidy up this wiring in a minute. That's the bed heater thermistor on. And then we should have on our list, so that's bed heater power done, bed heater power done, bed heater thermistor done, and build plate thermistor. So we need to find that one. So what have we got here? HE, heater. Yeah, so I need to check and see which one's which actually before I plug this in. I'm pretty sure that's the thermistor. Oh yeah, because there's another one there. So this one here says HE for heater. Maybe that's not connected right. I'll disconnect that just quickly. And check, because there's 2 plugs here. There's one that's just here that just pokes through here. But one of them, this one here, the little black one, is on a thermistor, which is, there should be underneath these wires. Let's put that in there. through there. So one of them is actually, okay, so one of them is the bed. So the red ones is the actual heater plate itself. So this one here will be the H. So we'll disconnect this so we don't get confused. This one is the H, HE for heater. So that one plugs into the red one, which comes directly off the heater. So that is fine. Hang up to the top. For some reason, it does not want to go together. It goes together on this one, they're the same type of connector. Must go. There we go. So that's the heater, the bed heater, the red one. And the other one is connected to the black cable, which is the bed probe. So I'm going to actually hook this in from underneath first, because it's easier to get to. And then I'm going to poke it up through, hopefully. We'll go up through the hole. It may or may not come up through, oh, it might not need to come up through the hole actually. No, I don't think it will. It should be fine like that. So the heater plugs into the heater. And then I'll just need to find the bed probe. See where that goes. That build plate thermistor goes in the next one up from there, so that's the heater thermistor. So this one here should have HE, yep. And then the build plate, which is this one here, that has got BP, so that should be build plate thermistor is the next one above that. So that's this one here. We'll worry about the cable management once we've kind of got this nutted out. So that's the heater wiring. So the heater wiring is actually done on the AC part. And now then we've got the tool board 24 volt wire. Which I don't know where that is. What's U9? U9 is Nevermore cable. So I need to figure out where that goes. Not quite sure. And then we've got, now we need to move on to the toolboard wiring, which I think we've got the big plug, the CAN bus. So we've got this big plug here, the CAN bus, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's meaning for by the toolboard wiring. So I'm just going to pull that out, and that goes both of them off the 24 volt supplies. So I'll just take these two bits of so they're soldered, so I'll just use those for now. It may have to be fed back in later, I'm not sure, because that plug won't go through any of the other stuff. The other end of the plug, I don't think it's going to go through, but we'll wire that part up later. But we'll get these connected in for now, and we've got to strip this cabling back a little bit by the looks of that to get it in otherwise it's not going to go. Oh, no, so that's the end that goes. Yeah, that's right. So this end here, there must be an extension that goes on this here that takes it. Oh, I know what it'll be. That will be this Cambridge cable adapter, maybe. MAP Cambridge cable. Not sure. I'll need to have a look at that. So there's a Cambridge cable there. So now we're going to have a look at the Z motor cabling and how that runs through. Basically, from each motor, it's all underneath the machine anyway, and each motor just basically feeds around to supply to the board, so that it can get feed from the motor drivers, from the stepper drivers. So let's just watch this video. I've just labelled my Z motor cables at each end, so each one's got a Z1, Z2, Z0, Z3, etc. Same with the board. Yeah, I've got Z0, Z1, Z2. Don't pay too much attention to how these are plugged in just yet, because I found out much later that they needed to be plugged in a little different. So my bad for that. So just don't worry about the orientation. This is the correct wiring here, with the B motor left, next A space, and then Z0, Z1, 2, 3. And that's how it is in the actual cable configuration. This year we'll get into that later. Doing Z3. It's just, just in case you have to pull it apart and you're not sure where everything goes. So yeah, it's just something that I would like to do to make sure that we're planning for the best. So the heater is pretty self-explanatory though. It's got 3 cables. Each one of these black cables has a terminated, so these thin black ones here, there's one there, very thin. It's got a yellow crimp on it that goes into earth, of course, and you got one here that's got black on it, this is the high voltage neutral. So this is all 230 volts and 110 in the US, I guess. And then this is the low voltage DC, so AC, alternating current, DC rails. So that's your positive and that's your neutral or earth. And the third cable for the heater on the 3 here goes into the other side of this solid state relay. And then the relay is fed by, I think it just feeds straight into here. Just gets 230 volts from there. Yeah, it does. And then you've got your control voltages at this side here coming from the board. So this here basically turns the heater off and on. So it's looking for a signal from these two cables here from the board, which is on the other side of the board up here. There's the heater control, and that tells you whether it's that tells this here whether to supply power or not to the heater. So yeah. Anyway. So anyway, that's where we're up to, and all I need to do now is hopefully flip it over, and I'm going to start working on putting the make sure you take a note of your voltages of your fans, because yeah, you're going to have to know that, because you've got to set these. So on this one here, for example, it's 24. And the other one is 24 also. So on your SS2209, worse. So there, and there. I know it's hard because the camera's all over the place. And you got your 3 voltages here. So it's got 5 volt rail there, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 12 there, and 24 there. So these are all set to 24. So it's basically voltage. The voltage current coming, voltage actually coming in is 24. So they'll have resistors to resist these down to the correct voltage they want, 5 and 12. So it's critical you get that if you've got the different voltage fan on the tool head itself. You need to change these to the right one, otherwise you'll burn them out. And there has been a couple of fires on these Vorons where it's melted the whole. Oh yeah, I've seen the videos. It's pretty horrendous. So I just wanted to pause on this bit. So because I haven't actually done a video, I forgot to do one, I think, on the Z motors. The Z motor wiring loom just comes from the Z motor and start from that end, work in and around and up here, up the center aisle, because it's plugging into this side of the board where the drivers are there, and so each one needs to go in there. On some of them I've had to come down further here to use up the cable length so it comes out nice and tidily, and so you know the one over this side will come in and along and around and then up here and plug in. Same with this one. This one's probably the shortest one. Comes from here to here to here. So these two here are probably the shortest runs to the board. But that's generally how the B motors run. And the Z motors run, and the A and B motor, which control the X and Y axis on the machine. They again, you run it from the A and B motors, and then up through the chain, which we're going to do that anyway, so I'll cover that off very shortly. Now we're going to start working on the bed probes and connecting the heater probes all back to the main board. Okay, so now there's a cable in here called SB, BP, so that's bed power. So there's a little 2-pin plug here, which goes into this. This is from the bed. So I can now connect that up. It is directional, but you'll see the little tang on the top of here. Plug that in, like so. And that plugs into, it comes around here. So we'll put that in through here. Try and maintain our cable management. And that comes all the way around the outside. And comes through here and powers onto this side of the board somewhere. So it's good because they've actually got both sides of the both ends of the cable marked with BP. So So I will find out where they're plugged into the board, which is in the wiring diagrams. So when you scroll down through here, it actually gives you a blow up of so we've got heater thermistor, I think. Yeah, I think it's that one. So it should be, so we've got 3 rows here. It should be the dark red one on the bottom here. So that should be that one. I'll tidy up this wiring in a minute. That's the bed heater thermistor on. And then we should have on our list, so that's bed heater power done, bed heater power done, bed heater thermistor done, and build plate thermistor. So we need to find. So the build plate thermistor was this little one here, which bolted onto the build plate, and then that fed out underneath the bed and came out the other side. Heater. Yeah, so I need to check and see which one's which actually before I plug this in. I'm pretty sure that's the thermistor. Oh yeah, because there's another one there. So this one here says HE for heater. Maybe that's not connected right. I'll disconnect that just quickly. And check, because there's 2 plugs here. There's one that's just here, it just pokes through here. But one of them, this one here, the little black one, is on a thermistor, which is. So the black one's actually the build plate. And the heater one, which is actually on the heater itself. So the red wires right there, that's the heater one. And that's going to that little black plug there, which is the red wires that are coming out the other side. So heater red, build plate black. Okay. And that goes up through there. So one of them is actually, okay, so one of them is the bed. So the red ones is the actual heater plate itself. So this one here will be the H. So we'll disconnect this so we don't get confused. This one is the H, HE for heater. So that one plugs into the red one, which comes directly off the heater. So that is fine. Hang up to the top. For some reason, it does not want to go together. goes together on this one. They're the same type of connector. Must go. There we go. So that's the heater, the bed heater, the red one. And the other one is connected to the black cable, which is the bed probe. So I'm going to actually hook this in from underneath first. So there's actually 3 probes on this machine. The 2 that have just been mentioned, the heater probe and the bed probe. Heater is the ceramic heater itself. Bed is the actual build plate. And then there's also a chamber thermistor, which is actually part of the circuit board on the Y end stop, which goes up near the B motor on the device. And even though I'm using senseless homing, you still need that, and you just have to do a bit of rewiring, which I'll show you when we do that later, because you need to use that thermistor to be able to check the chamber temperature. So once it's all encased in the ABS plastic, that chamber sensor will come up and clipper mainsail as its own temperature. So because it's easier to get to. Oh, it's great watching myself do all the work. Through the hole. It may or may not come up. Oh, it might not need to come up through the hole actually. No, I don't think it will. It should be fine like that. Because it's quite a short cable, so the heater, I've just left it on the other side of the, like between the heater plate and that hole in the chassis. And then I just need to find the bed probe. See where that goes. That build plate thermistor goes. So basically what I'm looking for is the build plate thermistor, or the BP thermistor. So the heater one goes into this one here. Yeah, so the heater goes into this one here on the bottom, heater. The build plate thermistor, or BP, is this second one here, and then the third one in is the chamber thermistor, which is the one I was talking about, which goes off the Y end stop on the B motor. Build plate thermistor is the next one above that, so that's this one here. We'll worry about the cable management once we've kind of got this nutted out. So that's the heater wiring. So the heater wiring is actually done on the AC part. And now we've got the tool board 24 volt wire. I don't know where that is. What's U9? U9 is Nevermore cable. So I need to figure out where that goes. Not quite sure. And then we've got, now we need to move on to the toolboard wiring, which I think we've got the back CAN bus. So we've got this big plug here for the CAN bus, and I'm pretty sure that's what it's meaning for by the toolboard wiring. So I'm just going to out, and that goes both of them off the 24 volt supplies. So I'll just take these two bits of. So they're soldered, so I'll just use those for now. So we've got this last bag, or pretty much the last bag, of a few bags anyway. There's a few bags here, but I don't think I need any of those because I'm using, first of all, I don't need the X stop, I don't need the Y stop PCB unless it's got, no, don't need the Y end stop because I'm using sensorless homing. I don't need any of these probes because it's all built into my Rapido hot end. I don't need this heater here because it's already built into my hot end. So yeah, so there's this little pile of stuff here that's not needed at all. And so this is the gland for the CAN bus cable, so we will definitely need that. I might not even need this, but there was some a couple of these little red I don't know what they are, little red parts. I've found them like very late in the process, so I did miss some in the cable chain area. There's a couple that need to be put in there. So now I'm just going to pull the Z motor cables out of this bag. That's the Magic Phoenix kit, and it's it says here 4 Zs at 1 meter, and then there's an X and Y at 1500 each. So I'll get them out of the bag. So I'm just going to label these 4 Z cables at each end. So I'll start with 1, and we'll just call this ZO. I'll just call it 0 actually. 0, 1, 2 and 3. Because we already know these are Zs because they're connected. So it's just to identify them once you've run the cables back to the other end. So that's 0, 1 and 2, sorry. That's 1. That's 1. 2. 3. And this end here, 3. Okay, so now we can plug those into the drives and then route them back to the machine before we flip it back up on its feet again and put the all the CAN bus board and everything in the tool head. Great thing about these kits is they've got a pack of stickers that come and it helps you label the motors all up. So that's really good. So we'll start with 3 and we'll start at the motor end. they click in properly. And then we just need to route them round to come round to the board, all of them. So this one's going to be the longest one obviously, so I'm just going to route it down through here into the management system and then peel this back as far as I can to use up as much as possible. I'll get this wireless cable out of the way just for now. So this is going to basically go backwards a couple of times just so that you end up oh actually no, it's actually, so I'll leave this out for now, sorry. Looking at it, I need to come back from here. So what we'll do is we'll figure out where they need to connect in. Obviously all your jumpers and everything are already set from previously. I'll just see if I can scroll back up to find the part with the drives all marked out. Okay, here we go. So on the wiki website, on the colour wiring, there's so basically when we look at this way, B and A motor, so B, A, Z0, 1, 2, 3. So we'll start from 3 and work back. So 3's here. Into there by the looks of that. Three hooked, 2, next one back. Get them in the right way. The two little prongs go towards the drivers. Not like me, blind man. 3, 2, 1. And then we've just got the A and B motors left. Okay, so we may or may not need to move because they might be tied around one another and all that sort of stuff. Oh no, that's okay, that one. This one here is though. So we'll pull this one out. Loop, so it's okay. This one here, that's okay. So we can put that one back in. So now it's just a matter of tightening these wires up, so I'm just going to work from the furthest edges in. It is still can So yeah, again, I'll route this backwards so that it uses up as much play as I can in this one empty nest that's in here. so far. So that's going to go down into here. Roll around the side. I'll come around one of these ones that hasn't been used yet. And we'll just use this area up, get this canvas out of the way. And just tuck this in here for now. Okay, that's one. And then we get the second one. Actually, I might use that. I'll wait till these other ones are in first. So we'll go this one first. Get this out of the way. Bit of a managing nightmare, but we'll get that. Yeah. And down through here. Put that in through here. Tucked up here so it comes in. And tuck that in like so. And then we'll get this one in. This one's going to have a lot of slack. Not a lot of room left for the rest of the cables though. Like I can't get it in here, so I might just duck in and duck around it. Just that little bit there because it's just too much in the way. I'll bring this one around the back so it's easier to get to. Tuck that all in there like so. This one back to here. That in there. Right, that's that one, and then it's just this last one here. So we'll drop that down through here. I'll bring it back this way. Because it's I'm going to just use up this extra space that's use it up, use the space up. Oh, great. Get your wireless out of the way. Drop this through here. Hopefully, yep, it'll go through there. Get down out of the way. Down through here. Tuck that on like so. Okay, so that's all the Z motors run. Cool. So then we've got the X and Y's after that, but before we do that, I'm not going to close it in yet because I've still got to run the XYs in, and sorry, the ABs in, and the tool head CAN bus stuff, so that's still got to be concealed in there, so we'll wait till later for that. So I'm just going to flip it on its head now. So that sums up this part. We're going to flip the machine over now and start complete building the tool head. Assemble the tool head to the tap, do the tap, and then we'll run the umbilical cord, get that all sorted out. Hey, if you haven't done so already, please like this video just to get it out there with the algorithms, all the YouTube stuff, you know, the geeky stuff. And, you know, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get the latest information coming out. And put your comments in below, any ideas, any thing you want me to do a video on, just let me know. Cheers, Westy over and out.